CFO. So as always, no decisions were made in executive session. Continuing on with finance and facilities.
All right, thank you. So back at our January Finance Committee meeting, Donna Roquette gave us an update on the prior year's financials. So I think you're going to give us a brief update to the full board of the workshop. And then after that, I'll come back and comment on our February meeting.
This is the report for the fiscal year end 2024. Starting with revenue, we had total revenue for the fiscal year end of 53.7 million, which was 3.6 million greater than budget. 81% of the 3.6 million is attributable to tuition revenue and other fees. As we had heard throughout the year, tuition revenue enrollment was higher than budgeted, and that translated into about $1.7 million. 35% of the 3.6 million budget overage was within other fees and can be attributed to interest income, which is about $723,000 over budget, and indirect administrative grant revenue, which is about $110,000. On the expenditure side, expenditures were about $61,568,000 for the fiscal year, and we're a little over 3.5 million under budget. Personnel service was 1.9 million under budget, and that can be attributed to vacancies that we've had throughout the year, with the largest underspending in the area of support staff, mainly in IT and physical plant. Because we had savings in personnel, we also had savings in benefits, and in addition, we had a DHIC premium holiday that saved about $490,000. Equipment was over budget for the year, and we had planned use of fund balance for the purchase of some technology related items. And then finally, in contractual costs, they were under budget due to savings in the area, primarily utilities and maintenance contracts. So as a result of all this, we had budgeted to use about $5 million worth of fund balance, but we actually added to the fund balance of about 2.1 million. And that left us with a fund balance of 21,500,000 as of 8/31.
I have a quick question. When I was appointed first, equipment was always, I believe, at 350,000. We reduced it down to 100,000. Doesn't that seem a little artificially low to you? I think when we did it, it's because, I mean, equipment, if I recall correctly, can mean snow blower, broom, computer, you name it. But we bond with the county to buy some of the equipment now.
We do, we reduced it when we started doing capital projects, educational equipment and furniture and fixtures, so then we reduced what we used out of the operating budget.
Okay. That's my only question. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Donna. So at our February meeting, it was February 10th, we discussed several resolutions that I'll bring forward at tonight's board meeting. We reviewed capital project details and bid information for the design phase of the Bound Hall third floor renovations, design services for the sports field improvements, and the window treatments in Drumlin Hall. And we also had a discussion on the recommendations for the strategic investment of unrestricted operating fund balance. The committee got updates on the 2025 budget process. Donna spoke with the committee about the 2025 budget process and meetings scheduled with the county executive senior leadership team, and also meetings with the Dutchess County legislators. We began meeting with the legislators last year, and that turned out to be very productive in communicating and giving them information early on in the process. So we'll begin those meetings in March with the legislators and the executive team. And also, Dr. Jordan addressed the committee regarding the governor's proposal for free community college, which targets individuals aged 25 to 55 pursuing high demand fields such as HVAC, construction, healthcare, AI, cybersecurity, education, and clean green technology. So more to come on that. And then we concluded our meeting by just getting general updates on meetings and reminders. So that concludes my report for this morning.
Thank you. Perfect. Moving on to the liaison reports, starting with the foundation.
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. The Shirley Handel donated 25,000 to be divided as follows: 10,000 to the Handel Foundation Endowed Chair, 10,000 to the Greenspan Trust Handel Foundation Endowed Chair, and 5,000 to the Bernard Handel Community Leadership Scholarship. $50,000 from the Lewis Greenspan Charitable Trust for the Greenspan Daycare expansion. $50,000 grant was awarded from National Fitness Campaign Grant Committee for the Fitness Court Studio. The new scholarships established by the community at Brookmead for one is a nursing scholarship, and the other one is for human services, $15,000 endowment, each of $30,000 for total. $5,000 grant from RTX Pratt Whitney that will be used to award 5 $1,000 scholarships to STEAM students. I should say STEM students. I'm so used to saying STEAM, I apologize. A new scholarship was created by Lisa and Scott Sweeney, owners of Dutchess Roots, to support students in the cannabis program. That was a $5,000 annual gift. Greenspan Trust Handel Foundation Endowed Chair in Holocaust and Genocide Studies was successful. The celebration of giving event was well attended and a pleasant evening. Annual reports were mailed, and you also have copies on the table in front of you, along with some additional information, including sponsorship information for the upcoming gala, which will be on March the 29th, along with an invitation there as well. I do want to thank Michael Dupree. I should say both Michaels for being the sponsor and the champion sponsor this year, once again, for the SGA table. Thank you, Michael. And also the honors convocation is May 14th at the Grandview. Invitations will go out at the end of March. The golf tournament for the foundation is May the 19th. You can golf course and save those dates. Save the date postcard will be in the mail. So I have to report.
All right, a lot going on, exciting. I know there has not been an association meeting, so there's no association report. So seeing that that is the end of our workshop, unless anyone needs a break, we can head right into our board meeting. You all good? Break, all right. We call meeting to order. Joya, can you, I have to, I'm gonna actually make you change this agenda order, because to me, making roll call makes more sense before pledge. So we'll do that next one. But can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bobby Biersack,
Present.
Mr. Frank Costello,
Here.
Mr. Stephen Caswell,
Present?
Ms. Dara Clapp,
Here.
Mr. Michael Dupree,
Tiebreaker, here.
Until the next.
Ms. Angela Fleslin,
Present.
Ms. Lisa Gardy, Mr. Ibis Guzman,
Present.
Ms. Evelyn Panici,
Here.
Ms. Linda Pratt, here, quorum present.
Thank you very much. All right, keep it on stand and join me in the pledge. And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have all seen the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Any discussion, changes, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Carried. No one signed up for public comment tonight, so we will move on to consideration of the minutes from the December 10th meeting. Are there any changes, corrections?
Didn't see any.
Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Carries. Moving on to committee reports. Is there an academic and student affairs?
We didn't
report? You
have a
guys didn't
meeting.
meet, I know, for this one,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
perfect. Board policy, the very busy board
Yeah.
policy, Chair Guzman.
When I joined, they said it was gonna be quiet
They lied.
committee and there's gonna be nothing happens in committees. Right, we had our meeting Wednesday, February 19th. The committee went over 4 Graham Leach Lively Act policies with the committee. These policies involving data information sharing, cybersecurity, which will bring the college back into compliance with the Graham Leach Lively Act, and it's crucial for the institution to ensure protection of sensitive information and avoid penalties for non-compliance. Dr. Susan Rogers spoke to the committee about revisions to the Title IX policy. The most recent court ruling requires everyone to return to the 2020 rules that were in effect before the Biden administration. Dr. Rogers reviewed the accountability clause that will be added to all policies that impact students, faculty, and staff. The committee reviewed a new policy on grant funded positions in keeping with the board policy on board policy development. The new policy on grant funded positions has been shared with all the shared governance bodies for feedback and will be brought forward for board approval at the March meeting. And we just went over some general updates and meetings and reminders. But I do have several items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 policies that I need to present to the board for their consideration. So please bear with me. 2025-18, I offer the following resolution and move to its adoption. Whereas the college's professional staff organization, PSO, Professional Staff Alliance, PSA, and the Student Government Association has reviewed said policies to ensure it meets board policy development requirements. Whereas the policy committee finds said policy to be appropriate to the needs of the college, now therefore it be resolved that based upon the recommendation of the board policy committee and reviewed by the board of trustees, the attached data access privacy policy, which shall be made part of the official minutes of this meeting, is hereby approved, and be it further resolved that this policy should be effective immediately, and be it further resolved that the board reconsider this policy again within 5 years or earlier, should it be determined that revisions are needed prior to the scheduled review date.
For a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Resolution carries. Chair Guzman, just so you know, you only have to read the resolves.
Thank you.
That will probably make your life a lot easier.
Much easier. Thank you. I offer 2025-19 and offer following resolution to move to its adoption, whereas be it resolved that based upon the recommendation of the board policy committee and the review of the board of trustees, the attached records and retention schedule policy, which shall be made part of the official minutes of this meeting, is hereby approved. And be it further resolved that this policy shall be effective immediately, and be it further resolved that the board reconsider this policy again within 5 years or earlier, should it be determined that revisions are needed prior to the scheduled review date.
Second.
You, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries. Next resolution.
For 2025-20. Be it resolved that based upon the recommendations of the board policy committee, the review by the board of trustees and attached disposal of customer data policy, which shall be made part of the official minutes of this meeting, is hereby approved. Be it further resolved that this policy shall be effective immediately, and that the board reconsider this policy again within 5 years or earlier, should it be determined revisions are needed prior to the scheduled review date.
For a second.
Second.
Thank you. Although, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries. Next.
I offer 2025-21, and be it resolved that based upon the recommendations of the board policy committee and review by the board of trustees, the attached data classification policy, which shall be made part of the official minutes of this meeting, is hereby approved, and be it further resolved that this policy shall be effective immediately, and that the board reconsider this policy again within 5 years or earlier, should it be determined revisions are needed prior to the scheduled review date.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries.
For 2025-22, and be it resolved that based upon the recommendations of the policy committee and review by the board of trustees, the revised policy on sex discrimination and sexual harassment, Title IX, which is attached and shall be made part of the official minutes of this meeting, is hereby approved. And be it further resolved that this policy shall be effective immediately, and that the board reconsider this policy again within 5 years or earlier, should it be determined revisions are needed prior to the scheduled review date.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed, resolution carried. Last one, almost there.
One, almost there, yes. For 2025-23, and now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the addition of the following statements to all institutional policies that respectively impact employees only, students only, or both employees and students. And I'll read the verbiage that is going to be added. Violation of this policy by an employee may result in disciplinary action consistent with the applicable laws and or collective bargaining agreements. Second, one, violation of this policy by a student may result in disciplinary action consistent with applicable laws and or the BCC Student Code of Conduct. Third, violation of this policy by an employee may result in disciplinary action consistent with applicable laws and or college bargaining agreements. Violation of this policy by a student may result in disciplinary action consistent with applicable laws and or the DCC Student Code of Conduct. Be it further resolved that the attached spreadsheet shall be made part of the official minutes of this meeting, and be it further resolved that this policy update be effective immediately.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to finance and facilities. Chair Caswell, I know you gave your committee summary already, so moving on to your resolution.
Right, I have 4 resolutions tonight. The first one is resolution 2025-24. I offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas requests for proposal for design services for sports field improvements were requested under RFP DCC 03-2025 with 6 proposals being received. It's resolved that the contract for design services for the sports field improvements be awarded to CHA Consulting Incorporated of Albany, New York, in an amount not to exceed $189,610.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do have discussion. I received a couple of unsolicited calls on this. I don't know if anybody else did as well from engineers that had put forth some proposal, were looking to put forth proposals on this, and they felt that there was plenty of money for the design, but what we're proposing for the totality of the project, I believe was $2 million. Their concern is it's not nearly enough to do what we're looking to do. So my fear is we spend the money here and then, not have enough to complete the project as a design. So I don't want to throw away good money here, especially at a time we certainly could use it elsewhere. That's my concern.
I share your concerns on that. I know you and I have had concerns on the cost of this project since the beginning, and that certainly has not changed. Any further discussion?
I mean, I would just comment coming out of the finance committee, yes, we've heard some of those concerns, but at the same time, this is only authorizing for the design. I mean, with a range of opportunities, there, I'm sure will be a range of costs to the design, and hopefully we'll get a good design out of this 189,000.
And also the term value engineer, which 19 years of the planning board I hated. That's what you do these days when they give a design cost, that they value engineer, and they look for ways to keep cutting costs to get to your budget. And believe me, that's become a specialty amongst engineers right now because of exploding costs.
And it was confirmed to me that, they are aware of the full budget of the project. Doesn't mean it won't go over, and I recognize your concerns, but I just know this is important to the college, and I personally was willing to, let this come forward with the design expenditures. So that's just my comments.
Any further discussion?
I
Seeing-
certainly think we can make very clear to them that this is the money we have. What can we do for that? Right?
Right, but at the same time,
Give
we
us a
also
good
have some
design.
expectations of
Right.
what will be delivered, so I don't want to
Yeah,
half a field.
right.
Exactly, and I
So-
think that's the concern, is that you're not gonna get more than half the field with the 2 million.
Right.
So, roll call, please.
Mr. Bobby Biersack.
Present. No,
No.
no,
No,
iron it.
Iron it.
Or abstain.
Are you voting for it or against
Aye.
it?
Mr. Frank Costello.
Okay,
Mr. Stephen Caswell.
Aye.
Ms. Dara Cloud,
Aye.
Mr. Michael Dupree,
Aye.
Ms. Angela Fleslin,
No.
Ms. Lisa Gardy's not here. Mr. Ibis Guzman,
Aye.
Ms. Evelyn Benici,
Aye.
Ms. Linda Pratt. Aye. 7-2.
Resolution
Motion passed.
passes. Thank you. Moving on to the next finance resolution.
All right, the next resolution is 2025-25. I offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas bids were received under RFP ECC 12-2025. It's resolved that the bid received to furnish and install MECO 5X window treatments in Drumlin Hall. Base bid materials and installation in accordance with the specifications be awarded to Commercial Draperies of Mamaroneck, New York, in the amount of $12,595.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I love it personally. I mean, personally, I think that people look with their eyes first and then their mouth second. So being improvements to the facility in large will just bring more students in to eat Drummond potentially. So this is a great move.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Resolution carries.
All right, next resolution is 2025-26. I offer the following resolution to move its adoption. Bids were received under RFP ECC 08-2025 with 5 proposals being received. It's resolved that the contract for design services for Bound Hall third floor renovations be awarded to Lothrop Associates Architects, DPC, in an amount not to exceed $66,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Resolution carries. And on to your final resolution.
Final resolution is 2025-27. I offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Dutchess Community College hereby approve the plan to use $7.1 million from the college's fund balance for strategic investments as outlined by the administration. And be it further resolved that the president of Dutchess Community College or their designee is hereby authorized and directed to take all necessary actions to implement these investments in accordance with this resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? I actually have an amendment I'd like to make, which is at the very end of where it says in accordance with this resolution. And then to add in the words and upon approval with resolutions by Board of Trustees. I just want to make it, is there a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. I just want to be clear that these proposals still have to come before the board. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was gonna highlight that as part of the original resolution, but
I just think it's important to make it very clear, because I think if an outsider is reading this, that language is not necessarily clear in there. So I just want everyone to understand that these still have to come before the board. Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none on the amendment only. All in favor?
hold up.
Well,
Oh, I was just say, yeah, I was gonna say, the whole resolution and this amendment focus on approving the plan, just the idea. It's a conceptual framework of some of the spending associated with our fund balance. And yes, in my opinion, it was implied that a lot of these, capital expenditures, things would come back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's any impacts to adding this. If Dr. Jordan had a comment.
So the only thing I'd add is that some of these expenditures are accounted for as part of the budget. And
so we've already approved the budget.
So as
that's
noted
where
in
that
the
would
plan,
be.
that plan that
Yeah.
you're referring to is noted that some are already in the
Exactly.
operating budget.
Yeah,
So-
and that's why I'm not concerned about that. I think where I'm just looking to make abundantly clear for everyone is that anything additional outside of the budget, anything that has not already been allocated, still needs board approval. That just by approving this resolution does not mean that it's blanket approved. Any further discussion on the amendment? Okay, so voting on the amendment first. Sorry, my Robert's Rules of Order comes
Yeah,
first.
you're exactly right.
On the amendment, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, going back to the resolution as amended. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of the resolution as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries. Next resolution.
All right, that's it.
That's it for you.
That's it for me.
Thank you, Chair Caswell. So going on to the Personnel and Community Relations Committee, Chair Dupre.
We have 3 resolutions tonight, as I discussed earlier in executive session, the title changes. The last 2 are agreements, so we can move forward in the worst case, that we're partners with the county itself. Resolution 2025-28. Whereas a review of the college's organizational structure, plan realignment, related professional titles and job descriptions was conducted. Now therefore be resolved that based on the recommendation of the president of the college, approval is hereby given to create the following titles in professional service. A, Associate Director of ACT, Transfer Pathways and Partnerships. B, Coordinator of Student Conduct and Community Standards. C, Deputy Chief of Campus Safety and Security. And D, Executive Director of Marketing and Communications.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries.
Thank you. I'll introduce resolution 2025-29, move its adoption. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the execution of the accompanying joint defense agreement with the County of Dutchess in connection with the lawsuit put against the college and the County of Dutchess entitled Worth Construction Company, Inc. versus County of Dutchess et al.
Is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries.
And let me
Finally.
introduce 325-30. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the execution of the accompanying mediation agreement with the Pappalardo Law Group, LLC, for the purpose of conducting mediation in connection with a lawsuit pending against the college and others entitled Worth Construction Company, Inc. versus County of Dutchess et al. And to pay the Pappalardo Group, LLC, a total fee for mediation services up to $5,000.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution carries. Moving on to the report of the student trustee. Mr.
Thank you.
Rears.
A few things here tonight. First and foremost, our treasurer from last semester left college, unfortunately. We needed a new one. We voted in Hannah Kelleher, first year student and paralegal. And next, we had our blood drive on the 13th. Our target goal was 22 units of blood. We didn't get that far, but we came pretty close with 20 units, so that's pretty good. We had 2 bus trips this month, Hunter Mountain for snow tubing, that was sold out. And an indoor water park in Monticello, and just decent attendance, even though I was late. SGA officers, including myself, Maya Chinkan, and our new treasurer are planning a carnival for end of the semester, just last hurrah, just to have a little bit of fun for finals and commencement, hopefully, with games, snacks, and hopefully a dunk tank, which I was told, Duncan trustee, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit scared, but you know. DCC men's basketball is ending their season with a record of 23-1 and ranked number 1 in the nation. All right, on to this is not the fun part, but it's my job today to tell you that the SJ club reps are frustrated. They feel disregarded, dismissed, and disrespected by each and every one of you. And the reason is simple. These feelings stem directly from the policy regarding free speech and the use of facilities on campus. They feel that they were given lip service regarding amendments and revisions, and now, from their point of view, that seems to be dead in the water. What good is a community college if the community is fractured over this? We followed the mandate from SUNY, and we have a policy on the books, but now is the time to come together and find a policy that we can all live with. So I'm encouraging each and every one of you to work with DO, to work with SGA, to work with the PSO, to find that something. Because at the end of the day, the term here is shared governance, not singular. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to my report. The Enrollment and Student Success is honored to share the news of Rob Zasso, DCC's Director of Financial Aid, was recently named President of the New York State Financial Aid Administrators Association. The Health Office is partnering with several local agencies to host tabling events on campus focusing on promoting health and wellness. DCC partnered with Bard College to offer 4 DCC students a 3-week immersive research experience during the January 2025 break. This opportunity is part of the project-based learning for undergraduates in microbial mapping, led by Bard's Dr. Brooke Jude and Dr. Robert Todd, along with DCC's Dr. Catherine Espinosa. Students will receive training in STEM lab techniques while working on active research projects in Bard's state-of-the-art labs, supported by a $34,000 grant from the Glenn W. Bailey Foundation. A number of students on campus over holiday break, the EOP and TRIO wanted to ensure that each student had a comfortable and enjoyable experience. In collaboration with DCC Cares, the offices co-sponsored holiday meals for students on both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And the residence hall was able to provide meals for over 20 students who remained on our campus. The Office of Enrollment and Student Success would like to recognize Xavier Velasquez and Jessica Whalen for their exceptional work in our peak enrollment period related to the utilization of our EdTech products, Cadence and EdSites. As leaders of their respective platforms, Xavier's work with Cadence has elevated DCC to a top 2 ranking for recruitment texting success across Cadence's nationwide platform versus all other community college sector. Meanwhile, Jessica captured 245 unique student interventions through Falco, our chatbot, in just 1 week, boosting retention efforts for the spring term. Our 3rd annual Spring Comic-Con was held on January 16th. I want to point out Trustee Costello for participating in that. DCC submitted an application to the New York State Department of Education on December 10th, requesting $2.2 million to support an expansion of our collegiate science and technology entry program from 2025 to 2030. The grant program increases access by and academic support for minority or disadvantaged students who are enrolled in academic programs that lead to licensure in the professions or for employment in scientific or technical fields. NICET approved DCC Perkins Career and Technical Education Grant at $518,000 for the 2024-25 academic year. As Mr. Biersack said, the DCC men's basketball team has risen to the top of the NCAA Division III rankings, holding the #1 spot, undefeated at 23-0. The team's leadership includes key sophomores Joseph Battle, Prince Kamade, Quincy Platt, Ciara Sinerna, and sophomore transfers Elijah England and Amadou Diallo, along with a talented freshman class who will hopefully give them a lot of success next year as well. So our board discussed previously, they actually have a game going on right now that started at 7 o'clock. So I'm going to keep my comments brief because we want to go cheer them on. And I encourage all of you to go join us in cheering on our team for their last home game of the year. So we're very
No pressure there.
no pressure there. I mean, I'm a March Madness fan. I'm all over this. This is great. So I hope that all of you will join us at their game that is going on right now. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to begin with 2 introductions, and I'll ask Ray Houston and Susan Rogers to make those introductions.
Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce Brooke Elford. Brooke is our new Associate Dean for Instruction and Learning, Curriculum Assessment and Compliance. She joined DCC on January 15th. We're right to the fire. She comes to us from Mercy University, where she served as the Director of Educational Assessment and led their adoption of new college-wide assessment software and the redesign and growth of their credit required learning program. Prior to Mercy, she served as the Director of the Center for Student Success at SUNY Orange, where she oversaw a complete restructuring of the Center for a more data-driven holistic student success program. She has a BA in philosophy from Marymount Manhattan College, an MFA in poetry from the New School University, and is currently pursuing an EDD in leadership and innovation at NYU. She's also the proud mom of an 8-year-old boy who has shared his love with Legos with the IL office. So please welcome her.
Anything to say, Brooke?
I look forward to working with you all. I'm very excited to join the Dutchess Community College community. I look forward to advancing a number of initiatives that I'm proud that Dr. Houston has been pushing forward, including how we're bridging our non-credit and credit offerings here at Dutchess. Really starting to wed together our opportunities and our local industry with our academic offerings. And how we consider that more holistically with how we evaluate continuous improvement for academic. So thank you so much. And again, I look forward to working with you all. And I hope it's okay. I address the audience from here.
Yes.
Sure. I will also address the audience from here. So we're very excited. I'm not shouting in your face. We're very excited to welcome Felicia L.D. Smith as our new and long-awaited Director of Diversity and Compliance. Things you might be interested to learn about Felicia. Felicia holds a master's degree of education in curriculum and instruction. Felicia is passionate about supporting diverse voices and fostering inclusive environments in higher education. Felicia is the proud mom of a neurodivergent son. Felicia loves travel and exploring new restaurants. And Felicia has a personal motto. Do you want to know what it is? I was born to educate and love. So it's that heart and it's that passion paired with her extensive experience as a DEIJ professional that impressed the campus community when she came and visited and interviewed, and which makes Felicia such an amazing addition to our executive leadership team. Please join me in welcoming Felicia L.D. Smith.
Good evening, everyone, over here. Nice to meet you all that I haven't met already. As Susan said, I'm Felicia L.D. Smith. I've been here just a little over a month now, and as you all know, it's been a lot going on, but I'm super excited and I'm very thankful to be welcomed by the campus community as I have been. From Board of Trustees members that I was on the conference with a couple of weeks ago, to even our SGA, and to even some of our student clubs and organizations. I'm very happy to step into a position where I feel like I have support by the administrative team, but also that our students also feel supported as well. I was in with the club today and they talked to me about the diversity that is on this campus, even though that's such a polarizing word right now, but they were happy about it and they felt comfortable with it. And actually had some provisions about going on to other institutions where they might not have that. So I'm interested in keeping that going here at Dutchess, even within the times that we're in, and I'm excited to work with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. I'd like to talk a little bit about the kind of advocacy work that we're doing as trustees, as community college presidents across New York State. First, with the New York State Legislature on the FY26 budget, we're focused on conversations about free community college, which is, as you know, from the governor's state of the state, and as you heard before, of keen interest at this point. But in addition to that, we continue as community colleges to advocate for the funding floor, as well as in DCC's case, the $106,000 that we received this year to fund healthcare programs, and in our case, our EMT program, as well as mental health initiatives. In addition to that, we are pushing for the state through the university to focus on community college equity and the agenda that we started last year for the state to fund upwards of $100 million in support of community colleges to allow us to get to the place where, from an operational standpoint, we can really truly support the agenda of the governor, especially as it relates to educating adult learners And in terms of Dutchess County Legislature, you heard from Trustee Caswell, the fact that we will begin meetings on the DCC budget with both the legislature and the county executives team. The first meeting will focus on parameters for the budget, like tuition and other revenue streams, but also expenses. And then our second meeting will focus on the proposed budget, and that will happen sometime in the March, April timeframe. And then we're going to presenting our final budget proposal. And lastly, in terms of advocacy, as Felicia mentioned, trustees Fleslin, Pratt, Guzman, Dupree, Felicia, myself, and our student government president, Raheem So, spent 3 full days in Washington, D.C. In their big snowstorm, all of 2 feet or, well, 2 inches, I'm sorry. You'd think it was 2 feet. To advocate, to talk to our congressional delegation about things that range from Pell Grants to workforce Pell and non-taxing of Pell Grants and increasing the Pell maximum TRIO programs, the C Campus Grant, and so forth. It was, and if anyone wants to share briefly their experience, it was another year of or working with a great deal of uncertainty this year, but with a great deal of enthusiasm for the work that we do as well. Anyone wants to add anything to?
I'm going to add that what was very effective, what we heard was very effective was our team went up with paperwork documenting just what the impacts would be if federal funding left. Is a third of our students. Just seeing this, that number, telling them what the number was pretty impactful. When I said it's $14 million that we would lose as well, they were all surprised. So I'm on the board of minutes of regional too, so is Frank, but I called up and said, you might want to have this kind of data as well for the system and for each of the hospitals as well to see what it's going to cost. Because I remember when somebody from Mid-Hudson Regional called me and said, can you do anything about Medicare and Medicare freeze? I'm like, no, but I do understand that these are services we've already paid, we've already expended. So if there's a contract, can't we sue for breach of contract, stuff like that? But at any rate, I thought we did, as a team, I thought we did really well. When we broke up into different groups as well. There was a team A and a team B, so we all came together at the end. But it was also just personally fun for me to get to know, particularly those 2 trustees down there who became troublemakers too.
I also found it very helpful that on our team A, we met with agencies, we spent a day meeting with agencies and think tanks, and that was really interesting because there seemed to be a lot of desire to connect and figure out how to work together. And there is this uncertainty, obviously, that we're in, but there was, especially from the National Institute of Science and Technology, a real desire to figure out how to figure out funding for what they need, and the enthusiasm was really palpable.
Yeah.
I think Dutchess Community College is how we fit into the entire picture. If you think of the country as a whole and industry, and how well suited the community college is to produce some of those workers that they absolutely need. And there was several departments that pointed out different areas where they are desperate to get and obtain some of those workers that we as a community college are able to produce for them. They're not looking to 4-year colleges, and obviously they're not looking to high school to fill them either, but they're looking to us to see how we fit into the big picture. And if we didn't step outside of this Hudson Valley that we call home and see those things, I don't think that it would have clicked in my mind how we are well positioned in the Hudson Valley to produce some of these workers that are critical. And they did point out jobs that were here in New York. I'm not just talking about a job in Silicon Valley or somewhere else. I'm talking about jobs here in New York that need to be filled, and how we as a community college are well suited to produce those individuals. Sorry.
No, I'll just add, it was so great to see the passion of this board and the individuals that were here from the college. Peter, Felicia, for most of us, this was a first real opportunity to meet her and spend time with her. But I think the importance of also having a student there. There were so many community colleges that were only represented by their leadership. And Dutchess was unique in the sense, like we were at a meeting with the New York community colleges, and we were the only couple that actually had a student at the table. So I think it really shows our commitment to our students and bringing them to advocate for themselves and really teaching them the importance of advocacy work right from, a young age. So I think
Boy, did Raheem know how to do that.
he was excellent. He has a very bright
The
future.
opportunities, and he just presented like, this is what it means to our college, like Pell Grants, this
Yeah.
is what it means. And here's a case A and a case B, and it was beautiful.
So thank you all for making the effort to be part of that. As you know, each month I try to shout out one of DCC's hidden figures or unsung heroes, whatever you choose to call them. And this month I'd like to elevate and recognize DCC's campus safety and security team. And invite you to join me in giving them a hearty round of applause in their absence for the diligent and dedicated work they do to maintain the physical security and safety of this campus. So if you join me in giving them a round of applause. The last thing that I'll point out is that on Thursday at 4 o'clock. Most of you, I think, have been invited to the State of the College address. We will take you if there's room, so please plan to join us if you can. Looking forward to.
That starts at 4 o'clock, I believe.
4 o'clock, yes. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Is there any other business to come before tonight? Being none, the date of our next meeting is March 25th. That is also the night where we have our dinner with student leaders, correct, Joy? Yes. So you will send the information on that, and if we need to switch or later, whatever,
Yeah.
take care of that. As a reminder, the basketball game is happening right now. Feel free to join us. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Again.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a safe night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Name, and then A.
I can.
K.
All right,
do it. I apologize.
Let's start with her name.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wrote down. Don't make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.